I got.
All right. Good evening, and welcome to the May 12th Hudson Conservation Commission meeting. I call this meeting to order at 7:01. Mr. Walters, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes, sir. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Cameron, roll call, please.
Mr. Murphy,
Present.
Mr. Dickinson,
Present.
Ms. Griswold,
Present.
Mr. Walter,
Present.
Mr. Cameron, myself present. Ms. Kriskunas is
She's
not
excused.
excused. Mr. Moran
Present.
and Mr. Dema.
All right. All members are present, so we'll be seating no alternates tonight. At 7:02, I'll open up to public input to non-agended items. Seeing none, at 7:02, I close public input related to non-agenda items. New business. Conditional use permit for 140 Old Dairy Road, map 105, lot 032-000. Anybody in the audience would like to speak to this?
I would.
Let's come on up, take a seat, and please state your name and affiliation.
My name is Alex Jafrida with Hayner Swanson, a civil engineer representing Nirel LLC or All Drain Services for this project.
Do you mind just spelling your last name?
GIUFFRIDA.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
So I'm here seeking your positive recommendation to the planning board regarding our project for the conditional use permit for grading and stormwater management within 75-foot wetland buffer for the proposed project located at 140 Old Dairy Road, lot 32, map 105. The lot's approximately 2.9 acres located in Hudson's G1 zone. There are wetlands located on site in the southern corner associated with Chase Brook, which runs beneath Old Dairy Road. Abutting the site is residential properties to the north, east, and south, undeveloped property to the west, and Old Dairy Road runs along the east side of our property. Currently, the site's developed with a 2,200 square foot commercial building and a 4,500 square foot garage with a couple other smaller shed garage type structures. Site has access off of Old Dairy Road and leads to a gravel parking area adjacent to that larger accessory garage in the back. It's currently no parking spaces designated on site, and it's serviced by private septic and well with overhead electric and telephone utilities. Regarding the company itself, All Drain Services, they're a local business providing residential, commercial drain and sewer cleaning and repair, water jetting, video inspection, and preventative maintenance. The business serves Hudson and surrounding communities, and they need this new garage for heated storage for their water jet trucks over the winter. So originally our company did the plan in 2017, which allowed for a change of use for that existing 2,200 square foot commercial building to be from residential to commercial. Contractor's yard, actually, sorry. And as part of that approval, they were granted that 4,500 square foot garage you see on the left of the screen. And along with that, there are several other site improvements like pavement, site grading, stormwater management, dumpster enclosure, landscape screening for lot 33. And those were all approved. And for our sake, the stormwater management area, which at the time was located outside of a 50-foot wetland buffer, but is now located within a 75-foot buffer because that was updated. So that's kind of kind of situation we have going on here. We're now proposing essentially the same site improvements, with the primary change being larger stormwater management area due to increased impervious cover on site. And the stormwater management area and site grading disturbs approximately 3,000 square feet within that buffer. The proposed garage is a one-story, 1,300 square foot structure. Site improvements involve pavement, curbing, designated parking spaces, 1 ADA, a dumpster enclosure area, and stormwater management system. The stormwater management system is an infiltration basin located on the eastern portion of the site. Stormwater either flows over land to that basin or through a swale running around the proposed development. The system's designed to protect water quality, reduce peak flows, and provide flood control during larger storm events. We do have a designated snow storage located on that lawn area north of the stormwater management area. So, as previously stated, I'm here tonight for your positive recommendation to the planning board for our conditional use permit for grading and stormwater management within that 75-foot buffer. For reasons unknown to us, the previous additional site improvements were not executed, including those, the pavement, curbing, parking, that stormwater management area, and just basically all those extra things were not performed in 2017. So that's kind of why we're proposing the same things as that project before, with the addition of increased size in that stormwater management area. All buildings and parking areas remain outside the buffer. So if you guys have any questions? Jared?
Yeah, all right. I'll open it up to the board for any questions.
Is the existing basin there? Because I don't see it from the existing.
It's not, no.
It's not,
That's
so-
kind of what I said. I don't know why they didn't do anything that we had approved in 2017, but it's kind of unfortunate, because if they did had that done, we probably would have not had to be here tonight, but
Would it be possible to push the stormwater management area out of the wetland buffer area?
We're
Looks
kinda-
like you got a little space.
we're kind of locked in there because it's not shown on that plan, but there's a septic tank in that grass lawn area. If you pull up the site plan, you'll see they have a septic system there, and you need a 35-foot setback between the septic and the stormwater management area.
Okay.
So we're kind of locked into that section of the site.
How are you emptying the detention basin once he reaches a certain level? Because I don't see an overflow. Where's the water going?
It does go into Chase Brook, but it's designed to fully store the 50-year, but it has kind of a large overflow, kind of,
But it doesn't show it on the plan though.
it's not anything,
I mean, it's gotta have some kind of riprap, some kind of weir, something, right? Outlet structure, if that.
yeah, it's kind of top of berm, so yeah, we can do that. It is designed to fully store and infiltrate the 50-year, but I guess, it could exceed that.
Yeah, my mind, our take is, let's say you get 100-year storm, is it dumping into the road, is it
Yeah.
dumping to the side, is it
Yeah.
dumping to the brook? If that's the case,
Yeah.
which direction it's going.
Yeah, okay. It would go to the
Towards
brook,
the
but
brook.
yeah,
You might wanna do that before you go to the planning board, you know what I mean, because they'll come up.
yeah, okay.
Say, hey, how is this detention basin gonna see relief if it reaches a certain elevation?
Yeah, okay. Understood.
Is the size of the
Cameron.
basin,
Oh, go ahead, Ms. Cameron.
is the size of the basin based on the whole impervious area on the site, not just the additional?
Existing and proposed.
And then all the gray shown on here
That's
is
the pavement. yeah,
proposed paving?
pavement,
That's
yep.
currently gravel?
It's currently gravel, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Walters?
So this site, you said, has been altered since the last time you were before the board here. So what was in that area before?
In the area of,
The pond, retention pond?
right now it's just a grass lawn area.
They never put in the pond.
Yeah, they didn't
Hmm.
do the pond or the pavement.
And then the buffer was changed to 7.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, recently.
So the 35 feet is from the
Septic,
beginning edge of the
yeah,
retention pond to the box?
yes, yep.
And this is a double tank septic system, or is this a single tank?
I'm not entirely sure what kind of system it is, but I can get that for you guys if you'd like it. I think we did the design in 2017 for it, so.
And then the leach field goes out in which direction from that tank?
I believe,
It's on sheet 2, John.
Or
The,
sheet 3.
On
Yeah.
sheet 3?
Sheet 2 or 3, yeah.
sheet 3 kind of gives you that outline of the whole.
yep.
Between the new curb and the stormwater, existing septic system to remain. Out on the screen what it used to look like before the building went up, that's 2017. And then 2020. But no,
No change.
So the septic would keep you from shifting it away from the road. What about shifting it to the right of the page, closer to the driveway? That's also no-go, or?
We're kind of right at the edge of that already, and we try and make it a somewhat uniform shape just for design purposes. But we're pretty close to that edge already, and we needed it to be. I think we would still be within that buffer even if we did expand it more that way.
Mr. Walters?
And so how full is that brook right now?
I haven't been out there, but it doesn't come close to our management area. I'm sure it's pretty high just because all the rain we've had.
do you have the flood area here at all shown? Is that required for the site plan?
I believe it is marked on there.
It is?
Yeah. If you look at the existing conditions plan, limit of zone A.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Yeah, 'cause that's gonna come up.
Yep.
Okay, so that's page 1. Are you gonna respond to the planning board when they say your client is in violation of this current site plan approval from last time? You probably wanna, you don't have to answer it here, but you probably wanna
Yeah.
talk about that, cause basically your client failed to, complete all the requirements related to the last site plan approval.
Yeah. I had a preliminary meeting with staff. They said they kind of gave me the approach for it. So however they want to go about it, I'm okay with it. I'm sure the client will obviously go through that with my client, but
Mr. Walters?
Are we gonna do a site walk, or?
Yeah, I'd like to do a site walk. I have a question. So basically, this is, the stormwater management area receives water from the impervious surfaces as sheet flow?
yeah, it'll go so that'll go right over the pavement into that management area, but everything behind that on that sloped area wraps around and goes into the basin.
And the grades will work to allow that sheet flow to go directly into that stormwater management water area?
Yeah.
And then you said curbing? Where is the curbing?
That's around back, kind of
Okay.
behind the parking, the 5 spaces and the dumpster enclosure.
Oh, yeah. You see it on
So,
sheet
What-
3 of 6. You can see the
so
curve.
this is the curb right here you're talking about?
That is the 2017 plan.
Oh, sorry.
Sheet 3 of 6. You can see the curbing.
The because I'm not seeing any curbing here.
They didn't do it. They didn't do any of that.
No curbing here.
Yeah.
Alright, they got nothing over there.
They did do
I'm
the,
surprised how we sign off on this. I'm surprised that they got away with this.
yeah, they did do the landscape screening. I know that's the one thing that they had to do. So they put those up. It's some tall trees, kind of.
So what is this?
Yeah, what is that?
That's a gravel shoulder.
Gravel shoulder, okay. So everything is gonna, so basically the runoff, it's going this way, hit the gravel shoulder, and eventually make it right here? Okay, and then your treatment basically should flow through the grass area and that, okay?
Yep.
You said that you were putting piling up the snow along the gravel buffer?
It would be somewhere in that area in the lawn.
One of the comments that's gonna come up at the planning board, is the stone wall is too close to the detention basin.
Mm-hmm.
Are they gonna relocate that? Cause I don't think you're supposed to move those. So if you look at the grading there, your perimeter of the detention basin is right there on the stone, and that is within, close to the right of way too as well. It's gonna take someone really good to actually make that happen.
Yeah, if we need to make some tweaks to it, I'm sure we can do that.
Looks like the stone wall's in the road right of way.
Correct.
Hmm.
So, yes. So that's why it's very important that, it's one thing to disturb your own stone wall and put it together, it's another one to disturb something that's not in your right of way.
But they shouldn't be grading in the right of way without approval, right?
They, in this case, it looks like they're right there. There is some work there, I guess you can consider it temporary, I guess. But it's, I think by default, if the engineering and public works sign off on that grading within the right of way, that's the approval. Which probably will be, you know, as they go through the site plan approval at the planning board level. So,
We have some room to cut down the stormwater basin if we need to make it a little smaller. It can still work.
yeah, my biggest concern will be, anything related to the stone wall.
Okay.
As much as, you know, not too worried about the grading and the right of way as much, because you're not changing it
Yeah.
that much, but the stone wall itself. Because there is a, it seems to be like a, some kind of pipe GK found in the roof. I don't know if it's at the stone wall or outside of it, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, there might be a tree there or something,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the
Mr. Walters.
shed roof is positioned so that this'll run off
Yeah.
to the shed, to the watershed side, or?
It should pitch to the swale, I believe. That's how it's designed out back.
Let's walk back.
So I got
Yes, Mr. Dickinson.
maybe one, maybe it already was asked. So if the basin overflows in the storm, where does the runoff go? Because it's only, your top of your basin is at 224 and you're riding that property line.
So, sorry, what's the question?
Well, I mean, you have your basin, the base, top of basin appears to be around 220, oh, is it 220?
I think it's 223.
Yeah, 223.
Yeah, 223, and you got a 224 contour riding the property line. So if for some reason the water overtops, it goes, it looks like it ends up going out, down towards the brook and into the street without any, I mean, where does that go?
It should go down to the brook.
Yeah.
So it'll go over the 223 first, down to the brook. and the
So it
222.
just overflows down into the brook without entering into the right-of-way at all?
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And it would be further directed with the emergency overflow.
Yeah, if that's something we need to do, we
Wrap
can
it over.
direct it a little better.
Gotcha. So there's some incomplete design there, basically, to handle that
Something we
flow,
need
to
to think about.
dissipate that flow that would possibly go into the brook.
A more specific overflow point then.
Would you also consider, and a lot of times we say like, okay, try, you have basically a buffer that's already been impacted, and we ask for some kind of restoration of sorts, whether it be some shrubs around there, maybe to help mitigate, slow down the flow, or
Yeah, that's something I can discuss with my client. Yeah.
something of that, or even just, restoring the buffer with some,
Yeah,
a mixture of shrub and trees.
can't imagine that'd be an
something like
issue, yeah.
that. That's, if anything, right now, I mean, you get unrestricted flow into the brook,
Yeah,
which isn't great from a sediment standpoint.
Yeah.
or
it should
something
infiltrate,
dumps.
it should infiltrate that water and clean it, as much as it can, but I get what you're coming from. We can,
Because there might be something that, and then, let's see, what else? So we tend to not want to have this, so the snow storage will be out of the buffer area.
Yeah.
And any salt or related chemicals would be, or ice chemicals would be outside the buffer.
Yep.
Is that a lot of room to store it outside, so, I mean, my quick thought was, from looking at this, was that this was a pretty standard request, especially for this, like we have permitted, not recent, well, more recently along, I think it's Old Dairy Road as well, facility that's close to Chase Brook. We also, back in 2003, I think, permitted the, a carpentry business on the, at the intersection down there where the cemetery is. So, in terms of like, is this, and it sounds like the business is already there, it's just expanding. So I think it's, the request is reasonable. So it's just a matter of the details of the approval, basically, or motion to recommend approval
Yeah.
of the
like I said,
conditional use permit, so. So I didn't, knowing that we might take a walk out there, I didn't, I had a draft motion prepared, but I also didn't, spend a ton of time reviewing your site plan. Because I figured that we'd be actually taking, if we're going out there to take a look, you'd be providing a little more guidance and going through some of the same stuff that you were just mentioning now out on site. So I don't know if anyone else has questions for you this evening, but I'd be willing to entertain a time for
Okay.
a site visit.
Yeah. Mr. Walters?
Yeah, I just wondered what kind of materials it drains on that you work with, or that the company, is it PVC material, or is it steel material?
the company, what
The
kind of
drains,
services?
they're making drains.
They don't make drains. They just like clean drain pipes and any kind of services like that.
It's like a jet vac,
Yeah, clean out
going to
pipes.
Clean out pipes.
So that's all cleaned out on the site, and the trucks are all clean when they come back to the,
Not,
physically?
yeah, I'm not entirely sure how they do that whole process, but
Mr. Cameron?
Do we have the original site plan that was approved? Is
should. Yeah, you guys should. I can provide it to you if not. I mean,
that- Okay. I'd be curious, like, was there a landscape screen proposed along Old Dairy Road? Because you got residential abutting whatever this is, commercial or,
I don't think so. It doesn't ring a bell. I know it was proposed for kind of north of the lot. They have the large trees there
Sure.
for lot 33, but I don't think it was requested by staff back then for Old Dairy Road, but
is that something that would normally be required?
It depends. Almost as I'm listening to both of you commenting, I'm wondering if they should actually do like a true as-built to see what was actually built compared to what was, and then implement to what you actually need to do. So, because I'm looking at it and I don't know what's real and what's not out there. Just looking at this, I can't tell. And I think it would probably be beneficial to you and your client. Make sure that it's very clear when you go in front of the planning board, because you're gonna have the same questions. I mean, not for this purpose, but it would be good to know at their level.
Mhm.
It's a fair question. Because I don't know what they did, and I don't know if they actually even did. If they didn't do the detention basin, I doubt it they went in and put trees in or landscaping.
Yeah.
That would be the least of the, I think they put the building up and that was the end of it. Everything else got forgotten. And I don't know if it was just COVID and everyone just, started hiding under their desk during that time, and that just was one of the, I still can't believe that no one went out there to double check this.
Mhm.
But it happened in 2019, 2020, so I'm assuming I'm blaming it on COVID, because usually we have an as-built. Like, I can tell you, there's not even an as-built for this. Usually when you do a site plan, last thing you do before you get a sign-off is an as-built, and it didn't happen here, because if it was an as-built, it would have said, this is not built. So one of the things you want to check too is, again, was an as-built required?
Yep.
And if the answer is yes, and I think it is, if you look at the conditions, you might want to start with that first, to see what you're missing, and then, because I don't know. I don't know.
Then a follow-up to that, it looks like you're going right up to the property line with the grading, so I don't see any room for planting stuff there, so
yeah, we can push that back a little if we need to accommodate that, I think.
Yeah,
Grissom?
that was mostly addressed, what I was concerned about is like looking at the initial scope of what they were supposed to do and then completing that before anything else gets moved or approved. Or what would it take to complete that, and then the assurances that it does get done.
We are proposing basically everything that was proposed in 2017, so I don't know if we'd have to say, go do everything that was required, and we can add it to the plan, maybe.
It'll probably be a bond requirement for this. Something like this, we usually don't, but because they've shown lack of actually completing work, I'm gonna recommend to the planning board that they require a bond for this work to make sure it all gets done next time. Because the problem with a building like this, or like a garage, usually you don't need a CO because no one is living there. So it usually doesn't require, everyone to sign off on it. Because you don't need a CO, it's either done or not done. So depending how this was treated, and I don't know, because it's been 5 years, obviously, we want to make sure that we don't sign off on this and walk away and work is not done. So maybe a bond requirement would be for this. We'll have to see. We'll be at the planning board level. Make sure this doesn't happen again.
The same owners that owned it 5 years ago.
Anybody else? All right. Anybody interested in a site walk? All right.
I'm away next week, so I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know when my planning board date is yet. I've been talking to Brooke. She said that the 28th might be full, so it might be in
Okay.
June at some
In
point.
June.
But
It sounds like you got time, all right. So you're away next week and you're back the following week.
Yep.
Would it be possible to establish a date for the sidewalk tonight?
I think so.
Okay. So that would be the week of the 26th?
At a Monday? 26th? No, that's
Can we do the 26th?
26th
We
is
don't
the
know, week
Monday.
of the 26th.
I know, but can we do the
Well, can we
26th?
do the 26th?
It's Memorial Day.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah, those holidays.
You guys got nothing else better to do that day, right?
Yeah. Nothing planned.
Unless you want to come in on a holiday, you can.
So how about, Tuesday the 27th?
I think that should work with me.
what time would we?
Typically, we try to get it in, obviously, before sunset
Yeah, like 6.
and after work, so
7,
maybe 6-ish.
That's not a good, no.
How about,
Can we do the 29th, the Thursday night?
I think that should be, 29th, is everybody good with the 29th?
That's better.
Better?
Yeah, Tuesdays, I usually can't, it's tough for me.
Okay. So the 29th at 6 o'clock? All right. Mark your calendars. Any further questions?
Can we get a hold of the previous site plan before that?
I don't see why not. You send it over, PDF set?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
You also want to look into like there was an as-built requirement or not?
Yep. Yep.
Actually, what would be great too is maybe an executive summary to what was not built based on the previous site plan approval. You should be able to tell.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to review the set of plans from a long time ago.
The only other thing I was thinking of is if there's anything else that you can do to help mitigate the flow of or the runoff of the water going into the brook. That, from an environmental standpoint, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
To try to achieve that the last site plan may not have,
Yeah, there's nothing on there from the last one, so,
so.
yeah.
It's a little study, I
Yep.
guess.
The good news is they're holding up to 50 years, which is really nice. Pre versus post, the detention basin is big enough to handle the 50-year storm, so.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a really big basin for the amount of development. I mean, if anything, you could probably make that smaller and a little deeper, but I know that
Water table is high there, right? So it probably can't
Well, I
go
was-
too deep.
is it Ty? I mean, you kind of,
We have a 3.5 foot separation to it right now, so it's kind of the limit.
I see. So that's why you got like a broad,
Yeah.
Yeah.
oval-shaped
We're
basin.
trying to make it work.
So you have to be 3.5 feet above the water table?
They need, what, a minimum of 2 feet, 2.5 feet, the
Something
state
along that,
requires,
yeah.
AOT permit requires, or just, they require like a minimum treatment, a minimum distance between the bottom of a basin and a water table for treatment, so it doesn't get contaminated.
And what's the nature of the soils up there? You have an idea of,
It was in the narrative.
Yeah.
It's probably been all filled in, they altered that.
Probably, yeah.
actually up there it may not have been because that, if I recall, that stretch of road is pretty residential. It actually just started getting, the
Develop,
commercial, I mean, the use, from a use standpoint, it's probably appropriate because the other half of the two sides of the property are bordered by like some kind of commercial industrial use. But
You have-
this is on the other side of the brook.
do you
so
have a
it's kinda
test
on
bit
the
for that?
residential- It's like an
detention
old
basin?
farm
We
lot.
do, yeah. It was in the stormwater
Oh,
report.
report?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have the log here by any chance, do you?
I have it in my bag over here. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, I just want to see what he says right there. He'll be able to answer your question, Ken. sandy loam, Ken.
Yeah, I was
Sandy
thinking that.
loam, single grain, and then coarse sandy gravel for the main layer. So it's all beautiful stuff. Work rate, 6 minutes per inch. Water table, 6 feet. Nice stuff.
Yeah, it's all gonna go
Thank you.
straight down. Very high.
That's why they're keeping away from the water table 3.5 though, because it's probably moving pretty quick. But, you know what I mean? You want to have that slow and steady, to make sure you get all the treatment.
Gotcha.
Could guess, that's why I guessed it.
Yeah, no, it's good.
It's-
It's good
Because
stuff.
it's near the bank.
Good stuff. All right,
All
so
right, we're good.
you got a date?
Thank you.
Any questions for the committee?
Do I need to come back, or is it kind of the site walk and then?
You might, depends.
I'm just wondering.
We might, yeah, we might,
Okay.
yeah. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Well,
We can,
We'll make that decision at the site walk.
yeah,
I would say based on history, yes, recent history.
yeah.
There was a point in time, well, a long time ago, where we were doing some decisions right on site, but we shied away from that because we don't have the video recording, for instance, and it's hard to make the proper stipulations to
Right.
Recommendation and-
Yeah.
out on site and have it all recorded properly. It gets very difficult, so therefore we have, it might just be a quick follow-up
Yeah, that's
meeting.
fine. Just wanted to check in.
But,
Yeah.
it actually would be required at the June meeting, rather.
Okay.
Next meeting is in June.
Okay. Was it early June or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Second
second
week.
Monday, yeah.
Second week,
Second Monday,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not getting pushed too hard on it, but people like to get things done. So.
I hear you. All right, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming in.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right. New business, RTP grant. Kathy attended Ms. Griswold attended a seminar in which she received some information about some grants that are available for trail and bridge work.
Yes. Well, so it's an information session,
Yeah.
and to be eligible to apply for the grant, you actually have to attend one of the information sessions. It's pretty well documented, the procedure, how to apply for this, but what's eligible are 30% of the budget goes to non-motorized trails, 30% to motorized trails, and 40 to mixed use. And I was considering proposing maybe something in the non-motorized area, and specifically, well, not tying it to a project just yet, that can be decided by the committee, but it's an 80-20 match. So we have to put up 20% and they match. The range of the projects have to be from 10,000 to 100,000. They give the documentation requirements. There are thresholds where you go over a certain cost, you have to have it 3 bids at least, fine, acceptable. And it's due May 30th, if we would like to apply for it.
That's quick.
It is quick. It is quick, and also it's more information because maybe it doesn't work for this year, but it is something that is funded through recreational vehicle gas taxes and registrations. So it's something that they do every year. So even if it is not right for this year and we don't have the right project, it's something to keep on the radar for next year. And in the meantime, we can potentially prepare a project that's shovel-ready, turnkey for next year's proposal. And the requirements of the proposal are probably not going to change significantly. So if we take it, it wouldn't even, and even if we got, like, the deadline's May 30th, the reviews start to happen in August, the shovels don't go into the ground until next May. anyway. So even if we did get a grant, the approval, the work wouldn't start until next May anyway.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks for going.
Thank you. And when can you, so the window closes at the end of this month. When does the window open to apply for this money?
Next year, probably.
Next year, and again, your application is contingent on attending the meetings. So
Right.
whenever the meetings are posted, if you attend one, you can apply, and so that's when the window opens.
So if we were to apply for this money in the next round, we would have to attend the meeting again.
Yeah, that's, it
Okay.
was a 2-hour meeting. It was,
Gotcha.
you know.
I think if you have the bandwidth to do the application and put it together, I mean, you might as well go for it this year, and if we don't get it, we always just use the same application tailored for next year, right?
I was really, and the application requirements, even though it's a quick turnaround, and they were very clear on this. They don't want fluffy language. They want the facts. They want pictures. They want diagrams. They want like maps of the land. And there's a couple of requirements that they very clearly, and that's why you have to attend the sessions, very clearly stated, like checking in with Fish and Game or Wildlife or something, making sure there's no protected species there and everything like that, and that you're not, you know, there's a certain range when you're allowed to cut things with respect to this project to preserve the natural habitats of wildlife and everything like that. So it's a quick turnaround, but the information, we don't have to do a lot of fluffy language, gorgeous writing to do it. So it's not inconceivable. And the project, and I told you I didn't want to, I just wanted to present that this is an option for going forward. The project, I think, would really be a win for this year if we were to go forward with the project, is that bridge at the Tiger Road property and Robinson Pond.
So, first thing you gotta do is figure out if you wanna move forward or not. Then the second one will be, you have to have a motion to make sure that you have a commitment of 20% coming from your funds, if you decide to do that as well.
Right.
And then if you go for the grant and you get it, then I'll have to come back to the board. You're gonna have to have a principal assigned to it. It's gonna be staff. Probably gonna be me or Dawn. It has to be someone from the town and running it, and then it goes from there. But if you wanna pursue it, and I think you wanna go for it. Typically, usually these ones, the more information you have available, like the more shovel-ready project you have, the better, but these are hit and miss. You might have this year that no one goes for these.
Yep.
Then you put something forward and boom, you get it. You get automatically because no one else goes for these, you know. $8,000 to $80,000, it's not a lot of money to do certain things, like, you know, bridges, but if you do a lot of this with, like, I don't know, Alvern or some other people, or I don't know, it can get a bit much, but also it can go a long way, so. I don't know the details. Did they talk about Davies Bacon at all, or no? Davies Bacon wages, they talk about federal wages, they did?
Yeah, they did. And so that volunteers are, yes, how volunteers are actually, because we can have volunteers come and work on the project, and then just unskilled labor is at, I think it was 31, 32 or something like that.
Problem is someone's gotta keep track of all that stuff.
Yes.
What goes in and what goes out. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Dickinson.
Well, yeah, and to that note, and I had one thought beyond it, but to that note for the labor part, we had a grant. We it was probably
You talking about the?
at least 10 years ago now. Before you were town engineer, the previous town engineer worked with Jim Battis, because we got one of these 80-20 grants.
Well, the most recent one
And
was the Merrill Park boat launch or the kayak launch.
Oh, that was right, yeah.
75-25. That was It was ARPA money, federal money, Davis Baker was involved as a paying.
But that was a little different, though, because
35
that was
grand.
along the river.
Mhm.
It was a substantial amount of work, but what I was thinking of was we got an 80-20 grant just for trail work. And we completed it all with volunteer labor.
Yeah.
But part of the problem is that it went kind of slow because of that.
Yeah.
And there was a miscommunication between the chairman and the town engineer at the time, and the grant expired, unfortunately, and we didn't get everything, we didn't take full advantage of the grant as a result. But we did get a fair amount of, we got some good work done. So, it was a success from that standpoint. So, and it was the scope was much, it was much smaller than what you were looking at Merrill Park. So, like even this project here, where we just, there was a thought about putting a bridge up, or boardwalk maybe, between the two properties. We executed a project just like that with volunteer labor at Musquash,
Yeah.
without the grant. This crossing is a little wider, but it's really not that much different. So, and there's a good base there. So it's not like we have to dig into the substrate to get footings in for a boardwalk. It probably could just, the footings could sit right on the stone and say that's there
Yeah,
now.
I don't know, Ken. Some of
So-
these can get pretty complicated. I know we have to have shoreline protection
Oh,
for
yeah,
that, and
well,
I'm just, my only concern is you go into these.
Because
and
you were
find out you
doing-
need a structural engineer to sign off on a
But
sidewalk.
the reason why you were,
ridiculous
but the
sometimes.
reason why you had to, you also had to put erosion control barriers because you were doing some grading work, right,
Mm-hmm.
at the top. But if you went for if you just construct the bridge, you really don't have much impact. It's just, and so I
One
was
would
just,
say, right.
just talking about it out loud. And the other, but the one thing that came into my mind that I wanted to make sure that we, you have to file for, because there is an endangered species in the area, it's the Blandings turtle. We've seen that come up because of the power line, for instance.
Yeah, you gotta
So-
do what they call
identify it.
environmental inventory, where you
Yeah.
go in and specify, an area of interest, and then it's gonna spit out if you actually got a hit or not. You pay $25, I think. You have to send a check. Last time we did it was ridiculous. They don't take credit cards, and of course I worked from home at the time. So it took like about 100 years. It was ridiculous,
Was-
but.
Yeah.
But we got through it, and then if you hit a yes, then it's a whole nother thing. But if it's a hit or no, then you move forward. But I don't know. I don't know the specifics
So,
of this.
that would be something that anything along the pond that we do, we'd have to, like, see what got filed for the boat launch, because some of the,
Now, boat launch was a nightmare. I go back and I'm like, I don't think it was worth the money, but, between Dawn and I, the time we put into it, but whatever, it's done, it was beautiful, it's, again, I think one of the things you need to keep in mind is once you go through it, and you can, it's just what's involved with it once you kind of get locked into it, you know what I mean? It's just a little different world out there with the federal money, like the requirements and the strings attached once you get locked in. And I think that's why they require staff now, because I think what was happening is they would have volunteers go from this, and then people would just like move on. And then the town will stop with like, well, who's the principal? So now it's like, he has to go through the board has to pick a principal, it's usually the town administrator or myself or public works director, depending what's at play. And it's a whole, it's just a whole discussion, but I think if you guys are interested, you should, as I said, first, make a motion to move forward. Second, get a commitment, so at least you can say, we're gonna go off for 80 grand, go for the max. If you're gonna go for it, just might as well ask the maximum. Get a 20% match requirement, because it is gonna come from the Conservation Commission. And then if we get through it, we'll deal with it after. Go to the board, finalize to what project you wanna do. If you have something in mind, then go from there. Or, like you said, wait.
Yeah.
Plan for the next move and apply for it next year. It'll be here before you know it.
What is the purpose of a principal?
The principal is the guy that goes to jail if things go wrong. I mean, that's it, you know? So basically it says, Carl, you're in charge, and that's it. It's a double-edged sword, right?
Well, the other thing is, like, if I'm the principal and I don't work for the town, and then all of a sudden I get my dream job and I'm sitting
Yeah. Go to,
coaching
go
somewhere.
to China, right?
Yeah,
So-
Yeah.
right? You're
Oh,
going
well.
off to China, and then I disappear, then the
Right.
project
Yeah.
disappears with me.
And you proposed the bridge over at Robinson Pond.
Yeah, and I really don't think that is a huge project, and that's why I was saying if that is something that we undertake this year, that's like a decent size, but not huge, not like the Gumpus Pond
Right.
we were talking about. And again, we can wait till next year. There are, and part of the seminar, I don't want to say what you're supposed to do because it would be from memory and I couldn't guarantee it's correct. But they did tell you how to deal with getting a hit on the endangered species, and that there was like a component where they deal with that actually. And then also like plant life and things like that. So what happens if you get a hit and how do you proceed at that point? So there are accommodations for that. Knowing that there is something in the area already is definitely useful, so that I can specifically look that up and I'll shoot you an email on that. But yeah, if we decide to proceed, something small enough, like digestible enough as that crossing is a good idea, and then we could see how it works and potentially for the next year go for a bigger project, or we can just wait and go for the project next year, or do both crossings next year.
Yeah. Mr. Dickinson?
Well, one or two thoughts was, one was that, yeah, I mean, I think the principal thing,
It's after.
it was, well, I mean, the town engineer even 10 or 15 years ago was the principal for that. He was the administrator of the grant,
Correct.
not the chairman of the Conservation Commission. They worked together
Yeah.
on the application, but the actual administrator of the grant was the town staff.
Yeah.
Then the other thought is that we permitted a wetland special, or whatever, the conditional use permit for a
yeah.
garage within the last 2 years that abutted the pond. So maybe if we look back at, they probably did an environmental assessment too when they filed that,
It
so.
would be outdated. They warn you once every year anyway. They
Oh,
actually
yeah,
updated
yeah,
it.
but I mean to see what popped up. Did anything pop up besides the Blandings turtle?
It wouldn't matter. They
So-
might have new maps of migration that says there was never an issue there before, then all of a sudden. So when you do the permits like alteration terrain, if the findings, notice you get is less than, over a year, I think they're required to do a new one in any year, so it doesn't matter, it's outdated.
Yeah, so,
It wouldn't matter if they hit or not, it wouldn't mean anything. It's a whole new game out there.
so if it takes a little while to get an application together and the deadline is
30th.
uh,
So
less
Yeah.
than 20
2 weeks
days
away.
away,
She's got it.
so what do you
I
want
have
to
nothing to do till I go to China.
I mean, well,
No,
yeah,
I-
I mean, you could put something together, but we'd also have to, we'd have to put a motion together for it, and we don't even know
Yes.
what it is and what the amount is.
I would
So
go
could
for
we
max
even,
if you
what
go
can
for
we
max.
do tonight to
Yeah.
support this? is the
And I
question.
realistically, I think our best course of action would be to start prepping these projects and preparing them, seeing what's involved, what the costs involved and everything like that are, getting numbers and stuff together and the scope of work, and go for next year. Like that's, I mean, we could rush it and try and do the little project, but we might cause undue stress. And maybe if we lump both projects together, the Gumpus Pond because I don't see the one at Tiger Road as $100,000
But the
project.
Gumpus Pond project is not a town project, it's with the town of Pelham.
Yep.
So it would not be a grant for us, it would be a grant for the town of
Well-
Pelham.
We could
For
do
the
a
Pelham
joint.
Conservation Commission,
Yeah.
through the town of
We could
Pelham. And we could assist them with their
They
project.
could apply
but
too,
it would-
and we could
but it would be
half and
their-
half.
Well, no, it would be their application, it wouldn't be our application. And we could always assist them in their preparation of it, but it wouldn't, it would just be lending a hand. We wouldn't, it's not something we would be doing here. It would be something with the Pelham Conservation Commission that would be discussed in their meeting.
Yeah, if it's not located in Hudson, you can't apply for it.
Well, it'd be, well, this is another talk, we can
Yeah.
discuss this
But-
at other agenda item.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, so well, I mean, the point, what I'm trying to figure out is, what can we do tonight on this topic?
Yeah.
Besides what we already did? Can we do anything else, or are we just spinning our wheels at the moment?
Yeah, I think that the turnaround's pretty quick, and dealing with other agencies, so you have to wait for them to reply and
Yep.
things of that nature. But to your point, is having projects ready to go,
Yeah.
I think is something we should definitely tackle. And to what point, John, do you know what the span of this potential bridge is?
Yes.
And what would that number be?
Well, the span of the beaver dam is about 50 feet from my expert involuntary,
Yeah,
Your laser
no
beam,
survey
Yeah.
in my, but anyway, and
Cool.
the proposed bridge would be above the beaver dam and set back from the beaver dam about 4 or 5 feet, where there are some rocks that are up about 2 to 3 feet above that, and span that to be 70 feet.
Yeah.
So this number on that is just for the materials up here, like $1,900 to $2,500
Oh.
for, boards, nails, and screws. If you want to add foot plates and brackets and such, that'd be additional cost. So, if you had 3 guys that worked on it all day long for a week, you might get it done. It's not
yeah.
you'd have to do a lot of work on land where you could screw decking together and slide it out there each section at a time, and work in from the
Yeah.
Robinson Drive and load that stuff in and carry it into the site. But it's doable. Things that need to be considered are also the ice in the pond and the current that's going over right now. I was out there today, in fact, I was there this past week, and with all the rain there, the water is overflowing in another direction, going around behind the dam, and then somebody's been out there and pulled out some materials there, so the water is flowing over in one section there. Somebody actually picked up a rooted tree and
Yeah.
threw it up on the raft that's out there. So they was getting too high for somebody's property out there, and they decided to take, which is kind of illegal, but
So you're thinking about 120 labor hours to build the bridge?
well, you never know what you get, but I mean, if you had 3 guys that knew what they were doing, they were just cutting and
Yeah.
pushing lumber out and holding the legs and stuff, it's substantial. But I mean, if you have a crew of guys that are more than that, and more people screwing in deck boards that you could slide out there, and it's kind of like a dock we're putting in, and it's, what the ice has a factor on that, or what the beavers have a factor on that, or what the current has a factor on that is all unknown. But we'd have to put together a proposal, give it a design, send it to the engineer, and then bring it before the planning board to see if it would be approved to just the construction of it.
Mr. Dickinson?
well, I was just thinking in comparison to what we did over at Musquash. Of course, this is, I have to look and see how much span that we had. We had a pretty good span over there.
Yeah.
But we actually did that with, I think, 5 or 6 people. I brought the materials in with my Polaris, right to the, pretty much to the location of the bridge. And we did it in the weekend. And maybe we went back out there on a second weekend just to finish the decking and whatnot,
Yeah.
but the majority of the construction got done in one weekend. But we had 5 or 6 strong people, and we were working pretty good with the direction of a gentleman who was a professional carpenter. So, that's a question in itself. Would we try to take on doing a project like that again and do it kind of in-house, or would we want to have it go out to bid or have some kind of help that's professional that we'd have to
I think we could do it.
get a contract?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not even going out to bid if it's under a certain amount, but at least having a contract with another professional so that they assist in getting the project done and they can handle,
Point of order,
maybe
Mr. Chairman.
weird things that
We're
come
kind
up.
of getting off the subject of the grant.
Oh.
Unless you make a decision, then you
Right.
can go.
Yeah,
back
I was
into
just,
this.
I was
Yeah.
trying to establish the fact if between labor and materials that we do make the $8,000 threshold.
Right.
I was just trying to determine that. And it does sound like that it will.
If we have help from an outside contractor,
Right.
there's a better chance that it would reach that threshold.
Sure.
So I guess the question now is anybody, are we interested in pursuing this for this year or by the end of May? Do we feel that we have enough time to turn this around with all the things that we need to do?
I don't think we know. I guess it would depend if we hit those endangered species requirements and all those different things, but if none of that shows up, maybe we could just go.
And
We
then,
have to, I think the biggest issue is because the 20% commitment would have to be approved,
right.
It's
right?
$2,000 minimum from us? Is that right?
Yeah, but you
It's
wouldn't do that.
10,000.
You're gonna have to do maximum.
Well, we don't have $20,000, I don't think, do we?
You can get it out of your regular 700,000 that you have available. You can always
Yeah,
move it at the end of the year.
I got
Yeah, Mr.
Thought.
Dickinson?
if somebody wanted to form I don't know if you have to form a subcommittee for this, but if you wanted to assign people to work on it, you could, and then if we have a application put together, we can have a special meeting to make a decision on it. Since it has a time frame on it, and we'd have to do a second meeting in May to cover it. I'm just saying that it's kind of hard, it's just kind of hard to make a good motion on something that we don't really have much
A scope.
to go with.
Yeah.
You don't have the right scope
Yeah.
defined and the right budget defined to even throw really a dart at it too well. So that's why I'm saying it might make sense to say, okay, do step 1, and in the event that step 1 gets done, then we schedule it, or maybe we can even tentatively schedule, just as a placeholder, a second meeting.
Okay. I have
It's
a-
happened before, but anyhow.
Selectman Moran?
My only concern is, because this is going to be a town project
Yeah.
and a town responsibility, Mr. Dema, does this have to be improved by an engineer because of the length and the
Yeah,
water?
I'm just listening to what John is saying, 75 feet, then I think that's gonna be a concern.
Yeah,
I
that-
think it's because it's so
Yeah.
long, it's not your short
Right.
span crossing, it's
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
a structure.
Right.
But I'm also hearing the clearance above vertically, and I'm thinking of the rails, and then how the railing system is gonna be connected to this. So it's not just like a platform, right? Anything that's usually over about 3-4 feet, they require some kind of railing system, so someone doesn't fall in the water.
Yeah.
And that kind of like, what I'm hearing is like, like, if we're gonna build it right, build it solid, like, it's going to sustain the elements and things like that, and whatever else kind of comes that way, and if that pond gets high and everything like that, so
Yeah.
my personal thoughts is we start putting the project together, but for next year.
Yeah. I mean, you can, like, if you do it next year, you can start looking into getting some prices for prefabricated, pedestrian bridge. They have those, and they're not super expensive either.
Yeah.
Something you can ship in there, put it together, and call it a day. You know what I mean? Because I'm just concerned, 75 feet, how are you gonna get this from one side to the other? That's pretty heavy and without proper equipment, or, I don't know.
Selectman Warren.
And just for an example, we went through this same process with the Benson Committee with the covered bridge.
Yes.
That wasn't a very long span, but that had to be engineered.
20
Because,
grand,
right,
and they didn't wanna
it had
move
to be.
forward after
And
that.
I don't want to stop what you guys are doing, but this is a town responsibility, so if something happens, it's coming after the town.
Mr. Dickinson.
Actually, on that note, when I initially thought about this, I was thinking that in the best case scenario, we would have an, if you call it an engineered structure or pre-engineered structure, with,
Yeah.
with a little bit of review from you,
Yeah.
maybe you could say, yes, it's already pre-engineered. There's a couple of caveats here on the ends to take care of the transition on either side, because it's probably one different elevation on one side than the other. So there's probably a little bit of a customization of a standard section, and look at some of these other companies that do it on a regular basis.
Right.
And that way you can get the grant money. It's definitely going to be over, it would be probably, depending on what you get, it might be on the higher side of the
Yeah.
80,000
Yeah.
total. So it'd be easier to install, but more expensive for the material because it's already a pre-engineered thing.
But you probably have a higher chance of getting it too,
So-
because you're going in prepared, you
And
know
it'll be
exactly what
safe.
you're gonna buy.
Yep.
You know exactly where it's gonna go.
Yeah, because
With
it's,
It's ready to
multiple
go.
bids.
because it's a custom, then you're purchasing a custom boardwalk that has the right OSHA compliant railings and whatnot, it has precedence, it's been installed somewhere else. It's not gonna be a liability for the town, because I'm even concerned about that myself. I mean, I would hate to put something there and see it get wiped out by a storm, and then people are trying to go over a
Yeah.
half-built thing, and that's not, that isn't the best
And we
scenario.
have to get a crane to remove it.
Good luck getting crane over there, right?
All right,
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
so it sounds like it won't be happening for
No.
this round, but it sounds like we should put something together for the next round.
Is that the only project that we had identified?
I got some others on the other business coming up.
Okay, all right.
Anything that might qualify for that?
Well,
On the back of the diagram, there's just a regular short span with going over a little stream at Robinson Pond, but we talked about that one already.
yeah, right,
I don't want to come out of turn here, so.
yeah, we can talk about that when we get there.
That's about $300 worth of
Yeah.
material. And
So does
Do-
anybody want to work on this Robinson Pond Bridge project? And I know there's, I think there's resources out there where you can, like, pre-engineered bridges out there with all the specs that you need for this type of span. Something
well-
like that we could float by engineering, I guess? Sure. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I mean, if I dig into it, I have the resources available. I used to design these, and I'm with a firm that actually does design of these things in different places as well, but we do, I mean, like the company I'm currently with does work all along the East Coast. So, it's not just New Hampshire or New England. But I have, I think it's something good to work on in
Okay.
general.
Anybody want to take this on?
I'll assist Mr. Dickinson, if I can. Do
Okay.
you have any assistance?
Yeah, and my time, it most likely will be limited in different, in spurts. So I'd only,
And Kathy will be helping.
I'd have somebody else be the point person, and I would just assist them as needed.
Okay.
So what's going on?
Not sure. I can help out with this project as well.
Yeah, I think we just kind of continue the thought to it the next meeting.
Yeah.
If there's
okay.
something new to present, that's great.
All right. Cool. All right, we all set?
I think so.
I think so. All right, good. Moving on. Old business, Hudson Times, Hudson Cable TV articles featuring Hudson conserved land. I think Kathy, you expressed interest maybe in writing an article?
Yeah, I'll write an article about.
All right.
Yeah. And then, was it Linda that suggested social media or leveraging social media last time?
Yeah,
I had a quick thought
okay.
about maybe like a little, instead of, like, the problem with doing social media is that you have to keep it going, keep it fresh, you constantly, yeah. Potentially, we could do a contest with social media in terms of they have to have a certain hashtag, like Pelham Hudson, or like Pelham Property Hudson, New Hampshire, or Pelham Preserve Hudson, New Hampshire. And that's their entry. And then we will pick out like the top 3 entries, and maybe, like we can post them at the library, or they can get a water bottle or something like that. Just a thought to bring attention to our, in addition to writing an article, bring attention to our conservation spaces. And then also potentially, another thing is potentially a scavenger hunt or something, where they could
okay.
document that online as well.
Yeah,
Like, go find where there's ducks in the Pelham Preserve. Go find a turtle, hashtag, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
you want to put something like that together?
Yeah.
Well, all right. That'd be awesome.
What property, oh, go ahead.
No, finish what you're doing.
What property do we want to do first? I was wandering the Pelham property, which is a fun place.
No, let's do Pelham Road. That's
Okay.
Yeah,
a popular one.
and
For us.
it has the car, the old truck there, and it connects to Benson. So
Okay.
So you're thinking they do the hashtag whenever they visit?
I'm gonna
Whenever
what
they-
I'm gonna do is write an article on the Pelham property, and I'm also going to just like a little statement about proposing a contest, like a photo contest.
Mhm.
And that can be scalable. And then also maybe a scavenger hunt, which we could also do online, where it could be, Pelham Road, Hudson NH, and then hashtag scavenger hunt. And that's, it wouldn't require a lot of resources except scrolling.
Mhm.
I'm in.
Okay.
So when you write the articles, send it my way, and
Yep.
that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Selectman Moran.
We are a town government committee, and we have a town TV station
Yes.
that can provide us with immense equipment, drones, and everything else. If you would like to be a TV star, they have offered to do one a month,
Well, okay.
and you can actually go out with cameras. They'll put GoPros on you as you walk. You can talk. They can get the drone out there. They can do seasonal walks. They can do whatever you guys want. I mean, that's gonna give you a visual, instead of reading about it, you'll get an actual visual of the trail as you're going, and they will take care of everything. They just need somebody to narrate.
Okay.
So I would get a hold of them, because I've already talked with them, and they've agreed to do it. And that's at our expense. We're a town committee, so we should be using our own town media.
Yep.
You good?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll
all right.
volunteer to assist, whatever you want to do.
all right.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
And I'd say I'd look forward to doing something like that. I just gotta find the right, it's gonna have to be, once things calms down a little bit for me.
Okay,
'Cause, yeah, unfortunately, I've been working the weekends as well as during the week.
I'm meeting with them tomorrow. Would you like me to get them to get a hold of you and set something up? Especially if you're
please.
gonna. All right,
yeah.
I'll do that.
I think I'm right across the street.
Be there, I'm gonna be there at 11 if you're available. You can have a quick,
Tomorrow's Tuesday?
yep.
I can be available.
All right, 11 o'clock at HCTV, and you can talk to them and get it squared away.
Awesome.
Down and back of the senior.
Yeah, and I think something like that would have a script to follow and things
Yeah.
like that, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's like the first, again, I walked the trail like last week or the week, when it wasn't raining. I walked the trail and just wandered around and kind of took some pictures of different things. So I'll do that again to get
Okay.
some, like, the last workday we did there, we cleared that beautiful rock, face,
Yeah,
remember? And so, highlighting the little, natural elements of that place and the hidden duck pond and things like that might be a fun little thing.
Those are vernal pools.
Ah, there we go.
thank you, Selectman Moore.
No problem.
It's
Like I
awesome.
said, it's just gonna give you a
Yeah.
much better visual, that's all. Because you can actually have, what you're talking about, and you could stand there and narrate what this is
Yeah,
versus just reading too, you know what I mean?
which, and in addition to that property, what you have to address later about the Tiger Road property in terms of that
Yeah,
might be an
once we find out more
interesting-
about that too.
Yeah, that might be
Yeah.
a really
Get some
interesting one to.
More information
highlight.
here
Yep.
coming up.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah, and if I could add to that, I use YouTube videos before I go on a hike sometimes, or even afterwards, to see what other people have, that hike has gone for other people.
Okay,
So, it could be a obscure trail, or it could be a well-used trail.
And the thing with HGTV, the paper's limited to Hudson. They put everything out on YouTube and everything, so it will be everywhere.
okay.
So they
pressure.
can, during the week.
You're gonna be a world star.
all right.
But I'm glad we have that capability. That's nice. We didn't
Not sure
always
about
have
being
that.
on TV, but I'm happy to wear a GoPro and run around the trails.
I'll abstain from TV. All right, awesome, thanks. Moving on. Yeah, Compass Pond Bridge update. So, Ms. Griswold and I had the opportunity to meet with a couple of members from the Hudson Trails and Forest Committee.
Pelham Trail.
Oh, sorry, Pelham Trail, Forest and Trail Committee. And we looked at a couple potential crossings. One, the easiest crossing, unfortunately, would involve private property on the Pelham side. The original proposed crossing, I think made by you and Bill a long time ago, and it's also on the trail map, is a longer span, but it goes from, Pelham Conservation Land to Hudson Conservation Land, so there's no private land involved, and it'd be quite a bridge to build. But they're very interested in teaming up with us to make it happen. Yes, Mr. Dickinson?
Had anyone contacted the private landowner? I'm asking if someone from Pelham contacted the private landowner to see if it's a possibility, because that's so much easier than having to do option B. And so that's my,
Yeah.
I think that needs to be, I think Pelham needs to explore option A before they try to tackle option B. That's my point.
No, I believe they are going to reach out to the private landowner to see if they're okay with having a potential crossing, but, property changes hands and things like that. So what's good today may not be good down the road.
Yeah, but I mean, on that note, that property, I believe, has remained the same owner for a long time.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a good, I think it's something to explore because it's a lot less expensive. It's a lot, it's like making a mountain out of a molehill, basically. And why do you want to do that if there's someone that's willing to move forward with the project through the easier route? So anyhow.
Would it be possible to try for a trail easement if you did that, tried to go that way?
Yeah, that would be on the Pelham side, I believe.
Would that guarantee access going forward in case it did change hands?
I believe it would, yes. I believe it would,
I don't know how difficult it is to get trail easements, but
yeah.
does anyone know about them? I don't know much about trail easements.
Oh, you're on the committee to find out about them.
Yeah, I'll look into it, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, well, in general, other towns do them all the time, so it all depends. It all depends on the opinion of the person that holds the land, I guess.
Right.
And our ability to work with that entity. In this instance, it's the town of Pelham that has to work with a private property in the town of Pelham, so might be able to assist, but they really need to be the ones to reach out, not us, I think, in this instance.
Okay.
'Cause it's not our property, it's not our town, it's them. Even though some of us are from there, so, but anyhow, yeah, so, but yeah, I look forward to seeing what we can do, obviously.
But if we do choose to build this bridge, this would be probably a good opportunity to use that RTP funding,
Yeah.
so. All right. So it sounds like, for the time being, see if Pelham can get maybe some sort of trail easement, if necessary, for that shorter span of water. And then maybe kick this can down the road, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, I think those ponds are all full of water at this point, so
Yeah.
any place where there was a former beaver dam is now full of water.
Yeah, they are. They're filling up.
It's a good thing.
Okay, moving on. Other business. Kimballtown Forest, new sign. John,
Yeah, the present
Mr. Walters.
sign that is located at the entrance to Kimball Hill Town Forest is decomposing. It's a 2x12 PT, been routed out. It's falling apart. So what do we do about new ones?
Well, we can make our own.
Are you in charge of that, or how?
Usually somebody from the commission usually makes the signs. I know Mr. Collins in the past has made smaller signs, smaller trail signs. Mr. Dickinson?
I built that in 2012 with another commission member. And
You did?
then, yep,
Oh,
yeah, and we discussed it, you know, we made a, I call it, bill of materials and got the expenditure approved, and we did it. That was actually part of the, that sign was actually part of the grant, I believe. So that, like, the materials, it doesn't matter because, material cost was less than $200 to build that kiosk.
yeah.
It was more labor than anything else, but yeah, I built it in my garage with another Conservation Commission member, and then we all went out there and installed it as part of a larger workday.
Okay.
About, whatever,
Is it under
12 years
warranty?
ago. So, I mean, I know how,
1 year.
I know how to do it, and I could, but, yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do, that was based,
Do we want to do something with more durable materials or move the sign or use the same system, or what do you want to do?
is the whole structure, when you say the sign's decomposing, is it just the Lexan and the border around it?
No, this is the one that's adjacent to the town highway there,
Yeah, it's right on the road,
right on the road.
town forest.
The two supports seem to
Oh,
be,
the actual sign
Yeah.
as opposed to the kiosk. I was talking about the kiosk, not the sign. The sign has been there for a long, long time, maybe over 25 years.
Oh.
So, yeah, probably got overtaken by the poison ivy over there or something. So, whatever you want to do.
okay, I know somebody that could help me make the sign, and I could replace that with better materials. Do we have a assigned amount of money that we want to expend on that, or be limited to, or it's just, right now, it's about a 2-foot long, 2 by 12 piece there.
Yeah, I mean, we can make a motion to
Mhm.
spend X amount of dollars for the
Yeah, up
reconstruction
to.
of the sign, yeah.
Yeah, up to.
Does anybody want to make a motion?
What do you need, John? What do you need, you think? 200-300
Well, I
bucks?
think it, should be made out of, PVC type material there,
Mhm.
plastic material, boards. But probably double them up, so I would say less than $100. But I'll have to check with my sign maker. I think if we give us a limit of $200, we cover it, and if it's less than that, fine.
Make it 3 and call it a day.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say a motion to approve $200 for a new sign at Kemble Hill Town Forest.
Second.
Second, any discussion on the motion?
I would bump
If
it
you
up a
wanna
little bit in
go
case he needs a little bit
300?
more,
Yeah.
yeah. Bump it
Yeah, I
up
mean,
in
well,
case.
knowing that the I mean, if you want to,
Well, he won't use it if he doesn't need it. He just doesn't
yeah,
have
I
to come
don't,
back.
I mean, knowing that what we spent even recently on something like this, didn't exceed $200, but if you want to make it 3 just to make
Yeah.
sure the tariffs
Probably
don't get
won't
us,
use
then-
it, but rather have it and not need it
Yeah,
than the other way
whatever.
around.
Sure.
All right,
Okay, so we make the motion, you make the
So,
motion.
yeah, amend
Amended.
the motion for $300 instead of
all right,
200
anybody
for the
second the
sign.
motion?
Second.
Second motion, any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
All right.
Mr. Walters, we look forward to this sign.
All right,
Thank you very much for
Willing to
taking this
help
on.
out. Yeah, I'm willing to help out too if you need my help.
we can put it together.
Awesome, thank you. All right,
Yeah, I would say if you can, well, just make sure it says the right thing and get the right spelling. 'cause we've had
Welcome to
some
Pelham.
that haven't had it.
And should it
Two
be?
L's.
What do you want to say on it? Has Kimball got 2 L's?
Yeah, Kimball Town Forest, because we have
Town
two
Forest.
other.
Budget for 1 L.
Is it Kim,
Forest.
is it Kimballtown Forest or Kimball Hilltown Forest?
1 R in forest.
Yeah, we should
We've had
confirm the
some-
name before we,
Yeah, let's do that. That's a good idea. Let's confirm the name.
We've had signs.
I think it just says
that
Town
haven't
Forest
been
now,
spelled
right?
It
properly.
does, correct.
Yeah.
Right.
But we have, what, 3 of them now?
Yeah, you got Rangers,
Yep.
Rangers Town Forest, Kimball
Colburn.
Hill, and then, yeah.
Colburn Town
Colburn
Forest.
Town
So right now, it's called the Hudson Town Forest on that sign, I believe.
Should be Kimball.
Should be Kimball Town Forest.
Kimball Hill Town.
I think on the GIS
Kimball.
says Kimball.
Just Kimball, not Kimball Hill.
Well, tell,
does it say?
town
I don't
or
know.
Kimball Hill?
I'm
Yeah, let's check it out
wondering.
right now. I think it's Kimball Hill. You're right, it says Hudson Town Forest. That's
Oh,
right.
it does on the GIS
Yeah,
map?
on the GIS it says, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Elvis, can you change that?
Yeah. On it.
All right. I look forward to seeing that. All right,
So we have at the present time several town forests.
3 it appears.
yeah, 3.
Yeah, so the
What
sign
is-
would actually say Kimball Hill Town Forest
I think so,
with 2 L's and 1 M.
yeah.
2 L's.
Hill is 2 L's.
All right,
So
moving on. You good? Hey, let's schedule a workday to Tiger Property. Mr. Walters and Ms. Griswold went out there and made a huge effort in moving a lot of trash. Looks like there's more to be done. So maybe we schedule a workday to finish up what needs to be removed and blaze the new trail. Does anybody want to propose a day in May?
31st? Too late?
No, I think that's good. Is everybody good with Saturday, May 31st?
at 8,
8 in the morning? All right.
At Tiger Road?
Yep, Tiger Road? Okay.
The paved side of Tiger Road? The cul-de-sac?
Yeah, the cul-de-sac, yeah, right off Barrett's Hill, I believe. So remove remaining trash and blaze a new trail.
Did you say 8?
Yeah, 8
Okay.
AM. Do we need any sort of mechanized machinery to get in there, you think? Or can we,
What's left of the tent area is, we gotta cut it up and I think we can put it in some bags if there's no dirt involved, but
well,
There's a lot of dirt involved. We're definitely gonna have to cut that up.
But-
And there are some,
I don't think a
um,
four-wheeler is necessary this
Okay.
time.
well, if you
Mr.
do need
Dickinson?
one and it's not super muddy wet, then there'll be a motorized ATV available for
Alright.
usage.
put that
If-
as a TBD?
Yeah, and we just, yeah,
Okay.
TBD, right,
Awesome.
as long as I'm in town and available.
All right, cool, work date, we're all set there. John, you're interested in contacting Mike Gendron, UNH Forester, for a potential walkthrough at the Tiger Road property,
Yeah, I talked to him
okay?
by phone this past week. His name is actually Gagnon, Gagnon.
Thank you.
He's a UNH Extension Forester, so this is an exercise that they do for anybody or any town with interest in having their forest evaluated in terms of, what we should do with the forest section and any invasives and such, and what we have for plans and how they meet those. How many acres altogether do we have out there?
Where?
Oh, Tiger, I think it's
Tiger
like
Road.
44?
39, I
Is
think.
it the 39?
Tiger, the one we just got?
Yeah.
Oh, one sec.
It's on the western shore.
Oh, all right, so,
40, 43 on,
yeah, but some of it's water. I want to say about, let's see here.
So they measured point to point over the water.
Yeah, yeah. So it appears to be,
While you're looking that up, we've done this in the past. So, I think it's a good idea.
37.6 and then 7 acres. So it's got to be about 43. Right? Does it sound right?
Yeah.
I'll just measure it quick.
It's supposed to be 43 according to the GIS.
So he gave me some dates, if you want to do it at 9 o'clock on some weekdays. He says he spent, 2 or 3 hours with people to walk through that area and check out harvestable timber, what we should do with the forest that we have out there, or what we shouldn't do, and what we have intentions for doing out there.
Is there a fee associated with this?
It's not. We've already paid the fee. We're part of UNH,
Okay.
University of New Hampshire, and New Hampshire State Forest.
All right.
38 acres, about.
So there's a lot of timber on that side hill there that goes down below the stone walls. That's, some of those trees are starting to get blown over because others are harvestable stuff, but little young, but
All right, do you want to set up a date and time? Do you have any dates in mind?
well, he gave me some dates. I wrote them down. I think the first date is the week of the 20th and the 21st, 29th,
This is May.
May, next week, and the following week he has a couple of days, Monday or Tuesday. I don't know if people are available to do a 9 o'clock walk with anybody, or I'm available because can make myself available. I don't have any work. But, if you want me to do it, I'd rather not do it by myself. I'd
I
rather
might be able to go,
have somebody else to
depending on what day I might be able to.
listen to what he has to say. And they do a report, give us a copy of the report. And
Mr. Dickinson?
So we did one for Kimball Hill Town Forest, and we had the gentleman come to the meeting, and we did the walkthrough on the weekend, on a Saturday.
Oh, okay. Are you interested in having this, see if we can do this on a weekday? I mean,
No,
a weekend,
oh,
weekend day?
Yes.
Okay. So
You
maybe
definitely can't do anything on the weekday.
Yeah, so maybe more community members can attend.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd be lucky if I can do a weekend. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna, hopefully it will calm down. We just got somebody on maternity leave right now.
so we have a workday scheduled for the 31st. Maybe I can see if he can come down and 2 of us could go walk with him through the woods or whatever at that day or something
Okay.
like that. But I'll look and see what he has for a weekend. Otherwise,
All right.
I'll get back to you.
Yeah, I mean, that person actually last time, and I'm not sure if it was Mike or somebody else, they actually came out and did a walkthrough with me. I think I was the chairman at the time. So we did a preliminary walkthrough, and then I think he showed up and talked about it. And then we actually did a follow-up walkthrough as a group, because at the meeting, we scheduled the time at that meeting during his presentation. Yeah, pretty sure that was it. And that was a little more involved because we already had a management plan and we were engaging, or we had engaged, the same company to update that management plan. And Eric Radloff was actually part of that company at the time that split, that did our initial management plan.
He works with Eric.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small group
Eric's
of
has a different,
people now.
different county, I think, that he works in as far as a forester, and I know he works with us with a weed
Mhm.
control.
So, yeah, so it's all good. Good to see what can come out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what we want to do with it, or it's up to the town to decide. Is it a forest or is it a conservation area?
Which one?
Tiger Road.
Tiger, it's a forest, I believe, isn't it?
No, it's
No.
just a conservation area,
Right.
and that would be actually due to the slope of the land and the fact that it's on the pond. I'm not sure how quick I'd be to harvest much of that, but, it'd be interesting to see to what extent there is like a amount, like a real harvestable amount, because the lot is not that big. So what's actually, so it'd be pretty easy to do a timber cruise and tally up what there actually is for harvestable timber and what's actually, like in the uplands versus, say, like the buffer of the pond. So, yeah, it's probably worth the exercise of doing a potential management plan for that. And and one of the first steps is doing this.
Yeah, this is the
So
first step.
It's to, for us, it would be just a good informational exercise, if nothing else. I don't, whether or not, it's also, this lot is adjacent to other residences. I'm not sure if it would make sense to really do a harvest. We had some other lots that, like the Colburn, that might fall into that category, but even just with a walkthrough of Eric and someone else from the state, it was determined that there wasn't enough harvestable timber out there. We took even a look at the 68 Pelham Road, and same thing. It already had been harvested recently, and it wasn't ready for any kind of harvest in the next decade or even 2 decades. So I'm not sure where this particular lot falls within that realm.
Okay.
And so it would be good to just
Yeah.
understand that better. But I wouldn't be surprised, what I'm saying is, don't be surprised if the end result is that it's an exercise to like remove the invasives, maybe do some timber stand improvement without actually doing like a real harvest with typical harvesting machinery.
Okay. So, Mr.
That is a big
Yeah,
expenditure of effort.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm looking to do, is to
Okay.
get the preliminary information and have the walk and just present it to everybody. It is close to the water. Not encouraging be harvested. It's the drainage into the pond and the carbon that those trees hold is considerable concern, so.
Reach out to Mr. Gagnon and see if he's
Yep.
available
I will.
for the 31st. Thank you. And did you have the opportunity to contact the Cultural and Heritage?
Yes, I contacted, we have the New Hampshire Historical Resources Division in New Hampshire, which looks out for such things as historical properties, homes and foundations and stone walls are on their list of things to look at. This one, we hiked along the shoreline trail there, and I observed a couple of different distinguishing features of rock piles that have noticed in some of the resources that are connected to Native American heritage. And then I made contact with that resource, New Hampshire Division, and they said there's most likely, early settler stone walls and work that they did, and whereas there's a stone foundation on the property there, and indication that there was a house there at one time. At any rate, I made a contact with Dr. Robert Goodby, who's an archaeologist listed by their division, Historical Services, and he offered to go out and take a walk with me on voluntary, because it's part of the conservation interest, and just see what he thinks. He's usually of the opinion that most of these are early settler stone clearings and stuff. At any rate, I'm gonna meet with him and see if he can walk through, and I'll let you know what date he has. He's done some archaeology dig in the state. He's a professor over at Franklin Pierce College,
Okay.
written a couple of books.
Who is it?
Mr. Robert Goodby, Goodby.
Robert Goodby.
So he'll give me some kind of idea of what we're talking about, so before we go making trails up through there.
Okay. Yeah, let us know what date you have. That'd be great. Thank you. Anyways, other business C, Mr. Kurt Laffin, he's willing to give us a talk on American chestnut trees, and he can come in and give us a presentation. And he has a few trees planted at Benson's, and I think he was a former chairman of the Conservation Commission here in town many years ago. But I was gonna see if there's anybody's interested in hearing him give us a talk.
Yep.
American chestnut tree. And
These are the new disease resistant.
yeah, he says they haven't found a truly resistant tree yet, but they do want to keep the stock available in case they do find something that is resistant, so they have something available to cross. But he says, if we choose to, we can plant some of these trees on conservation land, but it's a commitment because we have to water them and make sure they're watered for a number of years before they're established and can grow on their own. But if everybody's interested, I can set up a time for him to come in and give us a talk. Mr. Dickinson.
I'm very interested.
Are you?
Because one of my colleagues actually founded the whole chestnut hybrid.
Oh, okay.
Someone that graduated from my program before
okay.
myself,
All right.
which I unfortunately can't remember the gentleman's name, but I believe, yeah. So but it would be, it'd be good to have Kurt come in and talk about what he's done and what's been going on in New Hampshire, if there's other lots that have been successful in growing the, I kind of call it a chestnut hybrid that's disease resistant.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it'd be good to get caught up on that.
Okay. Selectman Warren.
Is this something he's done at the library, or is this something special he wanted to do for conservation? And the reason I'm asking is if you're gonna have a special talk on that, you may wanna just do it a different night and bring in the public. I mean,
Oh, okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it's that kind of discussion, then you may get some people from the public to come in versus sitting here through the meeting.
So it would best to have that at the library?
You
Or
could
wherever.
have it here. I'm just
Okay.
saying, instead of, where it's such a special topic, you may have some interest from the public.
Okay. Thank you.
It would be good to see Kurt, too. I haven't seen him. We talked, and he was active in going to meetings when I first joined the commission.
Yeah.
And, yes, he was a former chairman as well, and he worked for the state for a long time. And so it's nice to see that he's still ticking in town, and
Yeah.
you could hear his perspective on everything.
Okay. All right, done. Item D, bridge replacement of Robinson Pond Beach Trail. John, Mr. Walters.
Yeah, that's a trail that we walked before. I had a photo of it somewhere that I passed around, but this is the one that's decomposed. There's another tree down by that as well, and a couple other trees. Goes between marker number 4 and up the hill. Totally, the stringers are rotted out, and at least 3 or 4 of the boards on the track are rotted out. They're 2x8s, so we'd have to basically build a new
Build a whole new bridge.
span. It's about, right now it's 12 feet, but it's sinking down into the mud, so if we make it 14 feet, could get it up on top of the little abutments that they have now. It's probably about $300 material and boards and screws and 2x10 stringers, kind of like what we did out at Musquash, but it's, we mentioned it before when we walked those trails out there and didn't do anything about it, so.
Yeah, I think Mr. Dickinson mentioned about the scouts, maybe?
Oh, that built the bridge?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a scout project.
There's another bridge that goes over the stream out there that's good shape, and there's another stream that goes down.
Yeah, all the little
Further.
bridges and the kiosk were all made by scouts.
Now that you mentioned the kiosk, I was over there today walking around, and that kiosk map there's an ant's nest inside of that are having a party in there. And
So it needs a little clean out.
the map itself is kind of getting crinkled up, but I don't know if that's because of the ants or whatever.
Maybe, I'll try to reach out to the scouts to see if they're interested
I
in.
don't know, about the bridge they're talking about.
Yeah, I talked to
Yeah, I saw this, thanks.
at the Benson Park cleanup there, there's also a group that are on the girls' side of the scouts there that I think it's Mrs. Sullivan, Kristen Sullivan, that's works with those scouts.
Joe Underkoffler was the gentleman who assisted with the project
Right.
at the time.
Yeah, they built a bridge in a garage, looks like, and moved it out there with a trailer and a four-wheeler kind of thing, and put it across.
All right. All right, so I'll reach out to see if the scouts would like to do that for a project. All right, thank you. Anything else on other business? No, moving on. Financial status, the expenditure report.
It looks good. We didn't expend that much last month.
Very disappointed you guys.
And for some reason, there's been no professional services this month. Is that true? Are they done with
Yeah,
everything out.
They usually start a little later, I thought, weren't they?
Well, there's, there's the new round of professional services, so, which would be associated with the pond
Yeah.
treatment, but this year, there's no, from what I understand, there's no treatment, there's just dash now.
Correct,
Yeah.
And
We
so,
haven't started yet, I think. So usually that
But-
starts like later on and then it goes into
Well,
like after July, right?
it could start early, but, yeah, you need, but like, it could be starting because it got warmer and you'll start to be able to see the weeds, but I'm not sure if, like, the chairman could, or someone from the town could check with Amy Smagula just to understand better what the schedule is so that we can be notified that they're actually gearing up to perform their activity and maybe what week they would be doing it to start. That would be good to know. I was actually a little, when I look back at our notes from other meetings, we usually discuss this a little bit in April, but, and then, what I was wondering was, if the VHB activity, if that's task is completed, or are we expecting to
Yeah.
have more professional services expended for permitting or whatever is needed as part of their initial contract there? On the boat launch, beach exercise.
Yeah. Mr. Demo, how far are we along with the VHB
We're
contract?
close to getting done with that. So we should be close to it. I can get an executive summary from them to see where we're at, but I want to say we're about 75% done with both. The beach area and the boat launch. We got some feedback from the EOT permit staff and the alteration of terrain. And there were minor stuff that was last week. But we should be pretty much done with both very soon.
And the idea is to get that completed so that you can,
Have a shovel-ready project.
have a shovel-ready
both,
project and possibly put it towards, as another town, I was gonna say petition, but.
Well, yeah,
Warrant
to your
article.
point, we're gonna shoot for another warrant article
article, yeah.
this coming year, but it's only gonna be the boat launch. We're gonna carve out the
Yeah.
beach area. That was the feedback I was getting, that if there was just a boat launch, maybe, but unfortunately, it will have to be the boat launch only, but probably without any grant, because we lost that opportunity unfortunately. So it'll still be the same amount we're gonna ask people, but it's only gonna be for the boat launch project. So we'll see where that goes. And if they say no, it is what it is, but we're gonna have to ask for
Well, you could
something.
still apply for grant money, right?
No, for that particular one, no. That was the last round for a while. I mean, unless there's some other grant I'm gonna be looking for,
Yeah.
but that particular one was every 2 years, and we lost it.
Oh, it's only offered every 2 years?
Yeah, it's not every year. It's something to do with, there was ARPA money or federal money, and it was the last round before they changed something. I don't know, I was told last year was the year to go, and I lost it.
Is there a reason you can't use the ARM funds for this?
No, you can apply for it, but it's usually like projects that go to Nashua and Concord and Manchester, and it's a challenge to get our money. What is it? Our money? Is that ARM?
Yeah, ARM.
Yeah, the ARM money. But we're gonna look for things. So the plan is, once I get 100% design, and I get the permits, because the permit's only good for so long too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna start knocking on some doors to see what we can and cannot do and what we're lined up for, and have everything ready for this October, and give it one more shot, and maybe, I don't know, do a bit of better job, I guess, presenting it to people. I don't know. I don't know if I could have done something better. You know what I mean? But see where it goes.
Well, it's still on the radar, so that's good to hear.
It is. Both of them are. I mean, maybe something comes along for the beach area as well, but we'll have both of them ready to go. But I think the boat launch will be probably what I'm gonna shoot for next year. I think that got more people interested, and then maybe the beach area either gets done later on or it gets closed. Maybe we close it for now, and then, maybe when another group comes along and they wanna get it back to life again, so be it, I guess. I don't know, but we'll have a ready-to-go project that can handle all the deficiencies it has right now. Can't fight it too much, you know what I mean? You can we do our part, we have it ready to go, and if something changes, it's ready to be executed. But I think we did everything right. We did everything right. It's for a good cause, but you didn't get the financial support, you didn't get the financial support.
Well, you could wait another year and then you could
Do the other one,
reapply.
right, yep, no,
Do it
that
again.
too, they can do that as well.
Because maybe it just didn't get voted in because, I don't know.
It was too
one-
much maybe,
One
yeah.
thing changed, yeah, maybe the amount was, if it was a 5-figure, or whatever, it would be a 6-figure instead of a 7-figure amount, it would have
Yeah. We'll
changed
see.
something, but who knows, it could have been just the wind blowing the wrong way
Yeah.
that day.
But I'll get you an update on that on the next meeting. I'll send you an email, actually. It doesn't have to be until the next meeting. I'll send you an email, get you an update where we at.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Walters?
Yeah, so is Gumpus Pond used in the summer for activity or recreation, or how, is that gate open during the summertime, or is,
Compass
Public-
Pond, that's in Pelham.
I mean, yeah, sorry.
Robinson,
Robinson
right?
Pond.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be open and obviously subject to testing, and if you test positive for bacteria and other things, obviously it's a no-go, but it's open right now, I think, right? I think the gate is open, and once they start testing and it says don't, can't go in there, that's it. And last year was pretty
Right.
much closed most of the time.
Right. The thing is, the town really lacks recreation for the residents. We really do. If you look at the other towns around us, what they have for recreation compared to what we have, I mean, we're moving toward this industrial park thing. That is gonna be a huge addition, because we don't even have basketball courts for the kids, tennis courts, anything. And we brought this forward to have a place to swim, because we're the only town around here that doesn't. I mean, Nashua has municipal pools, Wyndham has a town beach, Pelham has a town beach. We're the only town that doesn't. And we brought it forward, the people decided they didn't want to spend the money, so that's where we're at.
They have a look into a pool, swimming pool, like Nashua has.
We had a
several.
pool back in the 60s, and it was a pond down the street, but you can't swim in there anymore either. But they did have a pool at one time, but, I mean, constructing a pool big enough to be a municipal pool is a lot of money, probably the same amount we spend on the beach, you know?
And then maintaining
And
it,
then, maintenance.
Right.
heating it up, and
Yeah.
chemicals, insurance, lifeguard, and,
Right.
yeah.
Where do we stand on the industrial park, town park? I see that was in the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice. We're hopefully gonna start soon.
So you got funding for,
Yeah, we got all the
Volunteer.
funding.
Got all
yeah.
the funding.
We have, we're waiting for a new finance director to start so we can set up the accounts, but, yeah, all the commitment is in. We just gotta cash the checks and get to work, so, yeah, that's gonna happen this year.
Glad
Mr.
to hear it.
Cameron? Oh,
Or
you also, Mr.
something
Walters?
else on that. I had something different, so
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Cameron.
I think I missed my spot earlier, but just an update. You had asked about the Trails Challenge, because
Oh,
we talked about
yes.
that previously.
Did I miss that?
So I
Yeah.
put together, I just based the spreadsheet on the Pelham one,
Yeah,
their Trails Challenge, and I put for properties Musquash, Colburn, Pelham Road, Benson Park, Kimball Hill Town Forest, Rangers Town Forest, Robinson Pond, and Tiger Road is what I put for properties. I don't know if there's any I should add, but so if you think of one that I missed, or I can send the spreadsheet so you guys have it,
yeah, that'd be great.
and then maybe we think about if we want to do a patch or something like that.
Yeah, and then we can list the trails at each property so people can
Exactly.
check them off as they,
I listed them. I don't have names for all the trails. Some of them don't have names.
Yeah.
On the properties, and some of them don't have distances. So but
Yeah.
we can-
all right,
we can start with it and revise it as we
yeah.
go forward.
We'll be the first committee member to hike all the trails.
Probably a lot of us have.
All right, thank you. Moving on, approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Anybody want to make a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion.
Hey, Mr. Cameron makes the motion. Anybody want to second the motion?
I'll second.
Walters seconds the motion. Any conversation? No, none, seeing none. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Congratulations on doing a good job with the minutes.
Thank you.
Was it 500?
All right, and, last item, anybody have any comments they would like to make before we conclude this meeting?
Make a motion before Ken comes up with something.
Everybody did great work, besides me this month. I appreciate all the great work.
Do I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
Make the motion, adjourn the
Walters
meeting.
makes a motion. Do I have a second motion?
Second.
Mr. Griswold makes a second motion. Any discussion? Seeing none? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Go Celtics. Gonna be hitting the rewind on that.